Yeah, I think there's a scene in Next Generation where Spock gets like a Romulan disruptor. And he's like, I'm afraid I'm not very familiar with disruptor settings.
There is no disruptor setting. It's like, just dead.
Yeah.
Oh.
So like
it disintegrates them. Back to life. Back to reality. See, that's why just do a karaoke channel.
Yeah, see. Karaoke and reactions.
I was like, can I do reactions to your karaoke?
Yeah,
yes, you may.
He's gonna be here in this corner and just like.
And when we're doing karaoke, he can react. And then when
Yeah,
you
that's
guys
true.
are doing
Yeah,
karaoke, I'll just like over there on my phone.
You just leave.
Like, whoa, you guys singing? I'm sorry.
You call that music?
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my God.
We were saying something before. Now I can't remember. It was a good conversation too. I don't remember.
Well,
That's fine.
Sibby
It's about-
ruins everything.
Oh yeah,
God damn it.
Cats.
it's okay. In the future, we might have an actual dedicated little studio space, and then we can close the door, and the little cat can never get in.
And
even though I
hopefully you
love her.
won't hear their little feet against the door.
So that'll be on our any special upcoming events.
Oh yeah.
Hey.
We're gonna electrify the door.
Yeah. Well, that's just gonna keep me out.
Why? Because you come,
No.
you crawl through this lower part and just like I have to crawl. It's one of those like phobias. Is like if I'm too high, like a trap will come down and like lop my head off because I watched way too much Indiana Jones or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
That makes
If
sense.
you're really high.
That makes
Logically.
Too high,
yeah. That's why I just keep say low unless there's the spikes that come up and then
Yeah. I knew a guy
they got spiked.
who he'd mess with people when they were high, but when he was high too back in college days. If you're on LSD, he's like, how you do, I can totally cut your head off and you'll and you'll still be alive, whatever. And it's like, okay, put your hands out like this, just like, sorry, put your hands out like this. And the guy would do it. And then he'd go behind the guy, he'd do this and put his own face in the guy's hands. And then run around laughing, laughing and screaming. It was like,
bravo to that guy.
Yeah, that was a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we are Bards and Balladeers. We are all authors. This is Rio.
Hey.
I'm Oscar. This is Kate. And we all write stuff.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast on story in all its forms. No matter what media it is, we're here to talk about the stories from it.
Did you say we're Bards and Balladeers? I think you said
I did.
that. Okay, yeah.
I said,
Just a
welcome to
reminder.
Bards and Balladeers
Yeah,
podcast.
okay, yeah, so that's okay. I have the memory of a goldfish, so,
Well, like, witness the goldfish memory on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. Come visit us on Discord. There's lots of fun and games held over there and more in-depth discussion when you like that sort of thing. We like that sort of thing, don't we?
We do.
Links for all that will be in the description below. I believe we have links to our individual stuff too down there.
Correct. Yep.
Yes.
Your website and our link trees, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'll have a link tree one day.
One day.
Any special upcoming events? Well, as you might have heard, we might be changing our setup a little bit. Yeah. Just to have, a different.
Just have a more dedicated space.
Setup.
Like we need to do a behind the scenes because it literally is in the middle of our living room against the curtains here. And
people are like, oh, what's that backdrop?
That's really cool.
Curtains.
It's curtains for the window.
And there's a window out our backyard.
Yeah. There is sunshine and gloriousness out the back, but we're trapped inside under our artificial lights and
filming in the middle of a lovely day.
Yeah.
And then we'll leave it.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All for you guys.
Yeah. We hope you guys
appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, today we're talking about, what are we talking about, Rio?
We're talking about weapons.
Yes. Weapons and stories.
Yes.
And also in real
He
life.
looks so good on camera.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get it out of the camera. That's Cal Kestis' lightsaber, by the way.
Oh, yeah, Cal.
Played. Oh, hell, Cal.
Who was it played by? What?
Cameron Monaghan? Yeah.
That played the lightsaber?
Yeah, he also did all the sounds.
famously known for.
Yeah.
He was also in Shameless, apparently, I think.
I've seen
And then
bits of
the
that.
new.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, like my old roommate Zach. You seem so surprised. My old roommate Zach used to watch it, and I was like,
Oh,
watch
sure.
it
Not
with him.
by your own accord. It was.
But I stayed in the room and watched
He's
it.
a redhead. Does that help?
I think he had like really
it's been a
buzzed
while.
hair.
Oh, sure.
Like shorter hair.
Very pale.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I know who that is.
This is funny.
Yeah,
I
but
was
if you haven't
not
played the
expecting
Jedi Survivor games, they are peak.
that. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Cool weapon.
Yeah. They've gotten better. The artificial lightsabers have gotten better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was totally CGI. What you just saw.
Just put it back into my hand. Like,
Be our next episode,
CGI, perfect or the best?
Yeah.
No, actually, I'm more for practical effects, man.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. But weapons, yes.
But yeah, I was thinking about this topic, and I don't know about you guys. Like, I took karate for 3 years when I was a kid.
Me too.
Ooh.
I got the blue red belt.
I got the brown, which is like shy of black and showing. I don't know what you took, but like it was one of the Okinawan ones, and our teacher told us that. Back in the samurai ninja days, like ninjas were basically like peasants who were fighting back, and so they were masked and all that. But peasants weren't allowed to have weapons of war. They weren't allowed to have weapons, and so like he kind of showed us some like traditional ninja weapons or whatever, and gave us a little backstory. And Sai, they're like, I wish I had examples on me, but like, Sai looks like a sword. It looks like a trident where the middle part is elongated. It looks like a dagger, really.
Right.
But where the cross guard is like that, and then the center goes up through here.
Think of Raphael from the Ninja Turtles. His weapon was a Sai.
Sai. And those were apparently used to plant rice.
Oh, they would dig the hole. They would like.
I don't even remember if it was a hand tool or if it was attached to something, but yeah, you could poke holes in the ground and the rice would go in there.
I believe that.
I mean, isn't that the way though? Like when it comes to like guerrilla warfare or whatever, it's just like use the tools that you have.
Use whatever's to hand.
Sorry, the cat is trying to get to you.
Ninja. Speaking of ninjas.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh no.
No.
Yeah.
Speaking of daylight. Yeah.
But like, and nunchucks were used to get rice off of get the grain off the stalk.
I feel like everything has to do with getting rice into some kind of like form.
There was a lot of rice was important.
Yes. Man. Katana was to shear the rice,
tonfa, the thing that police carry. It's like, like this, and then like flat along the arm. It's just a crank. It's the handle of a crank.
Sure.
Mm.
And a staff. Who can't find a staff?
Right.
It's a stick.
For walking.
Come on. Yeah. A lot of weapons are kind of whatever's around or whatever's needed.
Sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
a weapon can be anything. I'm a weapon.
These fists is lethal weapons.
These fists are bisexual.
Hey, I got my guns right here. So yeah, a lot of the time it's just what's to hand, what's needed.
Right.
And I think that like that's how weapons come about. Is like, well, what do I have around me that would make me attack better or defend better?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, like you said, anything can literally be a weapon. You take a chair and beat someone with it. It's a weapon. Like,
especially a folding chair in a wrestling match.
Yeah.
Honestly, I do kind of love that. Like, I love any kind of, practical sort of fighting in, whether I can only think of my cheesy martial arts movies, or cheesy like survival action films, let's say, is just when they use they're so desperate that they use whatever is within reach to throw or to deter the oncoming threat from coming to them or to delay them. Or I love seeing it. I love just like, what is the ridiculous thing that they can throw? And there's one movie, I think it's the first Raid movie, where they throw like this. What's that water jug? Like the giant water jug?
So like the 5-gallon jug?
Yeah. And they just throw that, and it's just, it almost takes you out of the moment because it's so ridiculous.
Sure.
It's a Donkey Kong moment.
And it's actually the way it's filmed too. Like it's
I think it's just one of those things where it's just like anything to distract anything. Because even if it like, obviously like it's not going to do damage, but if they had to like flop it out of the way and then you come in for attack or something.
Yeah, it gives you an opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Jack Sparrow does that in Pirates of the Caribbean. Like in that fight in the blacksmith shop, there's a lot of heavy metal things to throw around.
Yeah. And it's like you said, to distract them, to give you just that right moment to, or the person fighting, whoever you're rooting for, might be different on your opinions or perspectives or biases. But with even like in a different way, so there's like weapons that are just around you within reach. And then there are weapons that are so distinguishable as, throughout. I'm thinking mostly movies here.
Yeah, like the lightsaber.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And so like, I wanted to ask you guys, like, your opinions on what does it take for weapons to become more recognizable for their uniquenesses. Because I thought, like you said, lightsaber was an example that I could think of. The pulse rifle from Aliens. So there's some other ones too, but I wanted to get your thoughts.
I mean, obviously the chainsaw in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Sure. You're right.
Or hell, the chainsaw in Army of Darkness.
Right.
You know, like that's part of his arm now.
Oh, sure.
And you know, what's funny thing is, like, speaking of not just like, obviously like with these weapons things, it's almost purely like visual things that we can only talk about. But when it comes to like chainsaws, there's a very distinct sound of a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that, unless you have electric one, but even so that chain going around that loop, that's a sound that we all associate with.
Yeah. It's like a signature, like a lot of weapons, a lot of specialized weapons have some kind of signature.
The lightsaber does too. Yeah.
Right. It's the signature sound, you know, and,
right.
You can see that with big weapons, small weapons, personal weapons, like ship weapons, whatever. And like you posted a thing. What was that anime with the set weapon that makes like a scream?
Yes. Evangelion. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
very distinct.
Yes.
It's a trademark.
It's technically an angel, but okay.
Because it's funny you bring that up too, Oscars, because as I was thinking about it, the phrase we kind of thought of earlier was, well, how does this weapon tickle the senses? Because I feel like if it tickled it in some way, like the sound of the Evangelion, the the smell of like gunpowder, you know, is very distinct as well. This
is a weapon too.
Honestly,
this thing,
even
cuteness,
like building anticipation. Like if you know, smell that slow match for lighting a cannon or something, like oh crap, you know,
can get out, or even throwing a grenade. There's a sound to that clink of the pin.
Oh, and even just the last of the fuse burning down if it's an old grenade.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, like all kinds of things like that have their signature, or the landmine clicking as you step on it. That if you take your foot off, it's going to blow up.
Right. Yeah. There's a timeline of sorts, like a finality, like to the power of the thing in a way.
Or even like a gun too, with just even a cocking of a gun. That's very like, you hear that in a dark alley, you're like, oh, shit. Right. Or shoot.
Yeah. And like that's why you see some of that with some weapons and not others. Like I saw this video on like the squeaky chair phenomenon in TV or whatever. Like most chairs don't squeak that much, but they use it. They'll like deliberately add it, like put a squeak in there just for like, you know, to signify movement or intensity or something like that.
Right.
You get the same with weapons.
Oldness, or something.
Or breaking like a stream of thoughts that a character might be having, or to invade in some kind of sound that's already happening. To draw
focus.
Yeah.
You know, to or away from something.
But back to that idea too, is just like nothing in no other pulse rifle that you've ever heard sounds like, or no other rifle that you've ever heard sounds like a pulse rifle. There's a very distinct sound. You hear it, immediately see it from Aliens. Like it's just when you can engineer not just like the silhouette of a weapon, or like this works a lot in like with spaceships and vehicles too, but like when it's instantly recognizable, it becomes even more powerful. I feel like, you know, those things, those traits that make them a unique weapon.
Right. It sort of adds to a lot of weapons, especially those like really specific ones.
Yeah.
They often add to the identity of a character, or they add to like this either through status or identification. Like, oh, that's a Jedi. They've got a lightsaber.
Right. Or they killed a Jedi.
Right.
But no one kills a Jedi.
Or it's like specified, like, you know, if someone's using a Jedi or a lightsaber and they're not a Jedi, like General Grievous or whatever, it's like, oh, it's impressive somehow.
Which, can we talk about him just for a second?
Yeah.
Because I knew nothing about General Grievous before I saw him in the third film.
Yeah, me either.
And he comes out and everything. He shrugs off his little cape and everything, pulls out the lightsabers, his arms split into four, and then he's just like super badass. And then he gets taken out like a punk. Like what that intimidation and that cool like presentation of weapons. And then I feel like nothing really happened because immediately like Obi-Wan chopped off two of his hands.
Yeah,
like,
I do sort of feel like, I mean, they're kind of implying that Obi-Wan's advantage is the Force.
Sure. But he was able to take out like other really powerful Jedis to get those lightsabers. Like I don't know if they're better than Obi-Wan or not, but it just like, it shouldn't have been punked that
so quickly. It's kind of the inconsistency like took you out of the movie. Yeah. Which makes sense. I mean, you know, a part of, I think what makes weapons really impactful is then, how consistently they might be used.
Or the effectiveness of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Because if if there's a scene that, can't think of an example, but like if you use it a particular way in one scene and then in another scene you don't use it like at all, it almost like takes away the effectiveness of it and might just be bad writing, or maybe you wrote that scene before you established, in your own head, or
using a weapon and then not using it can be a continuity thing.
Mm-hmm,
and yes. I think that was actually fixed by that Indiana Jones revolver scene. Mm-hmm. It's like, he's got a revolver.
Yeah.
Why would he not use it here? Mm-hmm. And that his own instincts made that point in a comical way.
It's true.
But it also made it better continuity wise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I actually love that scene. We've talked about it before too. It's just one of my favorite like character moments too. But I also think, and you mentioned this earlier, is that weapons sometimes add to the like visuals of a character, makes them more distinguishable,
more
not even
identifiable.
Yeah, like the silhouette of Indiana Jones. Like you can recognize that, and it always has typically the whip, at his side, or an in hand, whatever. And along with the jacket and the hat, like it's all part of the package. And another example is Master Chief. I don't want to speak too much for it.
No. I like how I've become the resident Halo expert.
But it's a distinct silhouette for Master Chief.
Right. Not just his armor. I mean, he is, within lack of better words, the weapon, but his assault rifle, which you start off with the game, the very first weapon you get, very distinct, like battle rifle look. It's kind of angular and very futuristic looking, but like that has like lasted through like most of the games. I think they continue to try to make new weapons, which how fun would it be to work on like a video game or something to think it was like, I need a new weapon. I was like, all right, this one shoots like lasers or whatever, and what have you. But that silhouette has lasted, that is Master Chief's assault rifle has lasted through all of that. And they keep going back to it. They might like redesign a little bit just for some updated graphics, but like it's important to what Halo is as just like the mythos and the game itself.
Well, and even like the evolution of the rapier.
Sure. How dare you? Can't say that. The rapier. The evolution of the rapier. It started as like a kind of a civilian weapon for like dealing with unarmored opponents, but not meant as a weapon of war. So like for civilians to carry around. And also to plant rice.
Really, really deeply. Not so many rice cultures there, but then over time, it became an officer's weapon.
Oh,
and just a symbol status then?
It's just status, rank, all of that stuff that you pay GURPS points for.
We know that now.
But yeah, like the standard issue for, military would be like a cutlass or a long sword, some kind of generic looking sword, but the rapiers were for officers, and, they're not great at dealing with armored opponents. As we just mentioned, they were meant for unarmored opponents, but like they became a sort of status thing. And then you get the ornate cross guards, like in Princess Bride.
Sure.
You get a good look at, like Inigo Montoya's sword because it's a plot point. And so he's always using that thing, and it's part of his character.
Sure. Yep.
But like Wesley, it's just his sword. It's pretty, but it's like, whatever. It's my sword.
Right.
Which actually makes their sword fighting scene, like it's another layer to it of how they both feel differently about the swords that they're wielding.
Right. And then you get, Fezzik, the giant, he's just using rocks.
Right.
Like whatever's to hand. And to your earlier point about, or all of our earlier point about like what's handy. I just watched, I just rewatched Grosse Pointe Blank recently, like for New Year's. And, there's a scene, he's at his reunion and this guy's doing that marketing thing. Look, got a business card? Like, no, I gave you my pen, brand new marketing tactic. It's a pen.
Yeah.
And kills the guy with it in a fight scene, like, like several minutes later. And then like comes after ditching the body and everything, he comes back, gets a drink and gets like a napkin full of ice for his, his bruises. And like, as he's walking out, he's like, thanks for the pen.
That's
great.
Fantastic.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, it's just another example. Zombieland with the comical fight, his first fight in his apartment.
Oh, right.
He's like, he picks up, he's like using toilet paper rolls and like the blender and the top falls off.
That's a great, because it also adds, shows his character that he's, his fear drives him like wholly and completely, but he's a survivor. And usually those things don't go together in a way. Maybe they do more often than I'm thinking like initially.
The desperation move goes with being a survivor, but also it shows that at that point he doesn't know how to fight.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
I don't think he ever knows how to fight, to be honest. I think
he makes his like rule book of like things to do, but I guess probably because he learned through a situation where he might not have done that.
Yeah.
Or somebody else died because they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Rule number 1, cardio.
Yep.
Yeah. And then there's the double tap, which you see in that first fight.
Yeah.
He clocks her a second time with the toilet tank cover.
Yeah.
And it just freezes and says double tap.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
What a great movie.
It really is. It really is. Cause it's like a survival guide basically, but focuses more on the people in it.
Right. And speaking of survival, which makes me think of, again, back to, I keep talking about the pulse rifle because I think it's one of the coolest weapons that has come into sci-fi in a long time. When it's used as a, like, not just a transfer of power to somebody else to, like, because I could give you a gun and also now you have all the power and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
When it's taught and when people are trained, all the Marines and aliens, they're all trained, but Ripley is not. She is just a civilian and everything. And she's like, teach me, like, and he teaches her. And then that weapon becomes useful. And then she is like, it's like an upgrade, and then it's like that knowledge and that transfer of power is such a big thing that weapons do. I think that the leveling of the playing field, almost like Newt didn't have any weapons, but like she was just a survivor. Like
she had a cat.
Yeah, Josie lived. Josie's still alive to this day. But I just like how that weapons work in that way as a means to survive.
It's
basically.
true.
Yeah.
And I think that scene in particular where it's Hicks, right?
Yep.
Is teaching Ripley how to use it. One of my favorite scenes in that entire movie because it shows so much about his character. It actually is almost like one of the only like real insights into whatever relationship they're building, however you want to see it, whether it's like a brother in arms or like an actual romantic more relationship. It's the scene itself is showing more than one thing. And I love that when a scene has like multiple purposes and it's all centered around that weapon. Like one for her to be able to, like you said, to defend herself, her wanting to learn, and him also kind of showing a little tenderness with her too, that he doesn't really show the other guys, but he's also not treating her less than what she actually is.
I think at that point too, where like he knows that they need every fighter available. Mm-hmm. So I have to train it. It's almost like Seven Samurai too. You train the village and whatever.
Or Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to drop that in periodically throughout this episode.
But I do like when it does revolve around a weapon too. Like they do it in Fifth Element too with the ZF-1s. Yeah, like the new
Sorry, which one? Which
the Fifth Element.
Oh yeah.
New sword, new and improved. Like and it's just a fun scene that establishes like both sides of the characters, the Mongoloids and Zorg. Like it's just it's a center point.
The Mangalores.
Yeah.
Not Mongoloids.
And Mongoloids. Yeah, that's something else. Sorry.
I'm a little worried about it.
Well, but it's just it just becomes such a ridiculous like point like status of power. Like, it's just like who would ever need this weapon? Like,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But also it's feared.
Yes. Yes.
In what way?
I mean, when you see Zorg walk in at the end of that fight between Lilu and the Mangalores, he walks in with that gun. You're like, oh crap!
Right, we know what this can do.
Oh, sure, I see what you're saying.
Because they're not
feared by us, because we have that knowledge as the viewer, and Lilu, it frightens us because we know that Lilu does not have that knowledge.
Well, and also you saw her beat up a bunch of people who don't have that,
right?
And then he walks in. It's like, oh, okay, this is serious now.
Mm-hmm. And also, I think it's interesting too that Zorg, I mean, being that that salesman, honestly, is really what he kind of is at the most base level. Like he's a not a weapons expert, kind of like the Tony Stark if Tony wasn't Tony. Does that make sense?
No, I get it because he even bargains with the darkness, the shadow.
Yeah. And I also think that it's funny too that weapon also bites what's their species?
The Mangalores.
Thank you. In the butt later.
Yeah.
Or at some point.
Early on, what's this button do?
Yeah. And the lack of knowledge, again, like you said, adds to the fear of the weapon and builds that story for us as the viewer.
Yeah, I think there's a scene in Next Generation where Spock gets like a Romulan disruptor. And he's like, I'm afraid I'm not very familiar with disruptor settings.
There is no disruptor setting. It's just dead.
Yeah. So
it disintegrates them.
It's the implied threat that comes from ignorance.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh.
That's funny. I don't remember that. That's great.
It's in that where Spock is on Romulus or whatever. That's
great. I like that.
Glad I remembered that. And also hearing Spock say it because he's just telling you the facts.
Yeah,
it's true.
That can be threatening too.
And I had a question too. If I could tangent a little bit from the visuals of them. It's more so for Oscar too, but I guess you can. No, stay. Because the question is how, especially in historical fiction, how describing a weapon inaccurately will ruin suspended belief for a lot of people.
Right.
And I'm wondering if you ever encountered that. Did that inspire some of the research that you did for your book, or did you just already have the knowledge of weapons at the time?
I mean, I started out knowing everything.
Of course.
When I was born,
No, actually, I think I mentioned this before that my friend Ryan couldn't get into the movie Anna and the King because of the rifles they were using. Whoa. It was like, these are like Civil War rifles, whatever.
This is what we found in the props department.
And I don't worry too much about that. I just try to get it right.
Sure.
So, but there's this crossing that you haven't read it yet, but they talk about matchlocks, wheel locks, and flintlocks.
Okay.
And the relative virtues or drawbacks of all of those. And so I had to research the crap out of all of it. And I kind of had to come up with a reason why the pirates were using flintlocks and everyone else wasn't. And it made sense. But as far as getting the accuracy right, I did really have to worry about that because you want to get rate of fire was especially relevant. And whether or not you can load a weapon and then keep it loaded and put it away.
Right.
You can't do that with matchlocks. And I had to research, I was taking some things from GURPS Swashbucklers, which is a gaming manual, but also doing real research on top of it. And the indication was that flintlocks could fire about 3 times as fast as a matchlock. And I had to research that. It turns out I thought it was maybe twice as often. It turns out it's about, 3 times as often. That's more accurate.
Oh, wow.
Because of how they're both loaded and fired and everything. And that's what my research told me. Whether or not, I have not verified, I've not gone out and tested both kinds of weapon or anything.
Yeah. Sure.
But that sort of thing will swing a whole fight.
Yeah.
You got one crew using flintlocks, another using matchlocks. If you get that wrong, it affects the entire combat.
Right.
And so no one's come up to me and said, "Hey, you got this wrong," but it's entirely possible.
Right.
Just wait. When you get big and famous, you'll have all kinds of people coming telling you you're wrong.
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm rich now.
That's so good. No, no, but I was curious to, because that's something that I don't think we had a chance to ask David when he was here.
Oh yeah.
And now that we're talking about this episode, I'm like, oh darn.
Hey, you got him on speed dial.
He did say stuff about, what kind he would call his friend and say what kind of weapon would this person have?
Yeah.
What kind of sidearm would this kind of officer have?
Right. He says, here, fill it in in for me when he goes through it.
Which is a good friend to have, a research friend. Because one thing that does get me in more fantasy or historical, pre-gun eras is when you have that archer that has that magical unlimited, quiver. That's where do you get that arrow from? You only had 2 2 seconds ago.
Magic.
2 seconds ago. And Rio mentioned the concept of Hollywood clips to me, which is, can you explain that again?
Yeah.
I haven't, knowledge of it.
There's not many films that will pay attention to how many bullets an actual clip of ammunition like a pistol has or a rifle has or whatever. So if it fits a story and you need to be shooting at something, they're going to be pulling the trigger and they're going to be doing stuff. John Wick is the only film that I know personally that actually like they counted the bullets to make sure that that's it. And then he had to reload at that point, like, which is great. Like, that realism, like it might not matter to some people, but it just feels, extra fun just to watch him figure out how he has to reload during a fight.
It's a continuity focus. I sort of like trying to calculate with historical fiction, like the phase of the moon.
Oh, sure.
Which actually you can Google now.
That's true. That is true.
If you make certain allowances for when the calendars changed over. Yes, I am now starting to do this. I was not before. So don't bust me on it. I didn't try. Okay. I am now. But yeah, it's that same kind of thing. I think that should be standard with ammo, but I get why it isn't. There's a reason for the term cinematic, but it seems like it's such an easy thing to do.
Well, it depends on what gets cut on the editing floor too, because
that's true.
Yeah, like you never know when they're just doing stuff. It's like, oh, we got to cut this part. It's like, oh shoot, he didn't fire these 2 bullets, so there should be 2 more by this point. And like, but they very much planned out exactly what that choreography is going to be. And so,
which I think that level of attention to detail just really, it, like you said, it doesn't take away from the plot if it's not thought about, but it just adds to the overall like finesse of, in this case, a movie. And I think that for some people, it, like you said, it won't make or break them liking it, but it's going to make them love it even more when they do go to watch it, I think.
I know that people have commented on how much they like my breakdown of how the weapons mattered because, like virtues of a flintlock. You can load it faster. You load it faster. You can keep it loaded and just have it on you. You can use it in the rain because the powder is not exposed like it is with a matchlock. All kinds of things like this. And I think it fires. I think there's less of a delay between when you pull the trigger and when the shot actually fires.
Interesting.
And so having less of a delay increases accuracy.
Right. Because when you pull a trigger, it kind of can adjust the like aim of the thing.
Right.
So knowing that like when you pull a trigger or as soon as you pull a trigger, it should go off in that direction that you're like,
And it's the same with cannons, like, cause boats, they don't stay rock solid still. So if there's there's a chop and the cannons are doing like this, you've got a time.
Yeah.
That plays into my second book at least.
And also the lead time that an archer needs to give for when the arrow is actually going to get there. Like that, again, this type of, finesse is the only word that I can think of, like that perfect accuracy with weapons, like, and the mastery of the wielder. Like that is you can't really like point that out specifically in a thing.
Yeah.
It has to just be,
unless it's a book.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. But like, I guess if you focus on it too much, almost in like a Tolkien way of describing flowers, which nobody's like, it does ruin it for some people, but if you do love flowers, like you're going to love that.
Yeah.
I mean, also not to get into spiritual stuff, but like the stuff he was trying to do with like elves and stuff with over describing things, that's more kind of showing exposition, not only of what the scenery is, but the sort of, speaking from a spiritual standpoint, the mystical perception, like if you're having like an altered state, how you perceive those things. That's part of the point of doing that in certain scenes.
Sure. And so that's why I feel like if you really care about weapons and you have these movies that really does give that level of detail, it matters more to them. But if you're kind of like just a casual, observer, it's not going to mean as much to you. So it's.
We'll probably, we're going to do an episode at some point soon on competence porn.
I was just thinking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, this is a really good way to show competence, show experience. Like I'm experienced in this and therefore I know these little quirks matter. Like, there's an experienced captain in my first book who doesn't come to a great end, but he's aware that, okay, run out the guns late. Like don't bring stuff like cannonballs and shot and everything up sooner than you need to prepare for battle. Because if you're trying to run, which he was, keeping as much weight as possible in the center line of the ship, as low as possible and as close to the center as possible, is going to keep the ship moving faster.
Interesting.
And like, that's just something you learn with experience. And so you're showing, and so I'm showing he's an experienced captain because I don't like having dumb enemies.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's like, oh no, he knows what he's doing.
Right.
Right.
And that makes him a more dangerous enemy.
Yeah.
So if you take him out, that makes it a bigger deal.
Right. Speaking of weight in a way, sorry, one other thing that I like about weapons that Maria, you actually brought this up. Sorry, I'm going to use it because it's something that matters to me is how the like wielder of the weapon is actually adjusting to how much a weapon would actually weigh, or like the kickback of a gun. Mm-hmm. Like if a character is not, if they're shooting a shotgun and they're experiencing no kickback and it's like a regular like 12 gauge, not like semi-automatic gun, I'm going to be kind of upset if they don't have some kind of bruising, if they don't have some kind of impact to using that weapon. Yeah. Like it's got to be a little bit more realistic. And
like if a kid was using a shotgun and they didn't fly back a little bit, you'd be like, all right.
Yeah.
Right.
I've seen this a couple times. Specifically, I've seen where an untrained person is firing like a submachine gun, like an Uzi.
Oh, sure.
For the first time. Mm-hmm. One was Myung. In Macross Plus. Yep. But there's another, I don't remember the name of the movie, but the character is played by, Wesley Crusher.
Will Wheaton?
Will Wheaton. And yeah, he's like a gangster's kid at school or something. Okay. He's like rebelling against the family and gets shot for it. But yeah, they're like firing Uzis and like, so they just point it and start shooting and it goes up immediately. And like, oh, well, this is uncontrollable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're lucky if you haven't emptied the clip by the time you've gotten it under control or like adjusted to that.
Or if you were still pulling the trigger, but that's one thing. But like, again, inexperienced, right? You know, knowing the capabilities of a weapon, knowing how to use
how to brace, how to how to be able to react and go with it is a big part of it.
Yeah.
I like seeing it when it's done right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just showing that, you know, the competence and experience.
Mm-hmm. Right. And we'll talk about that playing more, but I do, and there's scalability to weapons too. I mean, you go from the Rock all the way to like the Battleship or whatever, like, you know.
When you say The Rock,
it's Dwayne Johnson.
In post, I want you to put his picture over us.
We are The Rock. We are three people in a suit, The Rock.
Yep.
But like how, I don't want to get to like, you know, I don't want to say political, but it's just like, it's almost like everything that we develop weapons is just better weapons to kill each other. Like, you know, we're always developing new ways. Like we went from the fighter craft to like, you know, someday maybe we'll be in space and we'll have space battles. And that's a whole new like atmosphere and everything, or lack of atmosphere or medium that we had to learn how to fight in. You know, it's always like people who know how to fight in these different ways or these different situations are better with weapons just because they know the terrain. Speaking of like Avatar, we just watched recently, knowing how to fly like a Banshee or like the Hallelujah Mountains and knowing how to navigate that, it all comes together with, even though they had more superior weapons, they were just better because they knew how to use their weapons better in that atmosphere or whatever, you know?
Yeah, experience,
yeah.
Terrain.
Well, you know, it gets into, you know, you're mentioning like, you know, building better and better weapons. And so we mentioned how weapons often develop kind of around like necessity, like what's to hand.
Sure.
But also the necessity, what weapons do you need?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is the enemy?
Yeah, like a maul, which is it's like a battle pick. You know?
That's where you get stuff from Starbucks or from Cinnabon. The mall.
Yeah. Not that mall, MAUL.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like a pick.
Yeah.
And that's what you would want to use to get through plate armor in combat.
Yeah.
So, okay, what do we need? Okay, what's going to deal with this armor? Let's use a pick in combat. What are we going to need to, you know, get through this missile defense? You know, this like defend against this missile attack, Patriot missiles,
right?
You know?
Or those new miniguns that have radar. They can track missiles and just basically spray them with bullets until they explode. You know,
right?
Yeah.
Like just sort of the arms race element.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know, if you think about World War I, trench warfare. I mean, gas weapons,
right?
Bio weapons now. You know, like
that's a good one. I didn't even think about that.
All that kind of stuff it's necessity is the mother of invention. It's all in that camp, not just what's to hand, but what is it that will get the job done with the minimal amount of losses on our side and maximum damage on their side, like drones, bombers, things like that. Nukes.
Yeah.
You see more nukes you see a lot of nuking in sci-fi, not like that kind of nuking, but like that strength of weapon against like heavily armored spacecraft or something.
Right. Or even the bugs and like Starship Troopers, you know, like, But the thing is, to kind of wrap some of this up too, is that I think the thing that is most important about weapons is, and using them effectively, is when it doesn't become just something fun to put in there. You know, like if I was talking to Kate about if you just have a guy who's going through and just like killing everybody, has a best weapon and everything, and has no troubles or whatever, there's no fun in that. Like, you know, there has to be a good use for these weapons to have them in there. And there has to be a good counter to anything that you do to make it interesting. Right.
Yeah. And like that's how the arms race goes. Like there's a good counter, like castles were a counter against catapults,
not alligators.
But once you got like howitzers and stuff, castles became a lot less relevant.
Sure.
And especially with aircraft, you know, like what uses a castle against that?
Right.
And
I never thought of that actually, that the advancements of the weapons actually discontinued the use of castles.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and, you know, you think about
discontinued.
Like how war advances, like tanks made trench warfare obsolete.
Sure.
Right. Rolled right over that.
Yeah. That's what won World War I is like you rolled out 40 tanks. No more mustard gas drifting the wrong way when the wind changes and stuff like that. I mean, the point of weapon advancement is to make the defenses obsolete.
Right. What's the old adage is like, make them hurt hurt them so much that they never want to like rebel again or whatever. It's like, I can't remember the phrase.
Don't know the adage.
Yeah. It's like an adage. Just like, you got to make it so undesirable to attack or to fight you so they don't fight in the first place. Like weapons of mass destruction are used to as a deterrent. Like, so we never have to use it. Intimidation.
Right. It's sort of like spyware. Let's make it not worth anyone's while to organize against us. Yeah. We'll just like that is a weapon.
Yep.
It's an electronic, it's a surveillance kind of weapon. And so like there's, you know, you've got this, the purpose is weapons as a deterrent, weapons to get through defenses, you know, like the nukes are a deterrent. That's their main function these days. This is just the threat of having it, you know, like you can't mess with us or we'll, if you make us take our last option, now our last option just got better.
And everyone loses.
Right.
Yeah. And one thing too, real quick, is I like it when there's battles where like one side is losing and like, or you have the underdog or, the example is I was thinking is Independence Day where like you're fighting this force that is, you can't get past their technology. There's no way stopping them. So they had to think of something other than a weapon to get to them. I mean, at the end they did use like missiles and stuff like that. But they had to use a computer virus to get past their shields and their technology in order to get to actually kill the big motherships. But it wasn't even like the normal pilots. It was the dad who was a drunkard who just wanted to help.
It was a crop duster.
Crop duster, yeah. And he's the one who sacrificed after he had the last missile. Like, you know, it's thinking of new ways to do that and the sacrifices that people do and stuff like that. That's what I like. I think it was very clever, at least with Independence Day, that they subverted a lot of expectations of how we're supposed to be using these like weapons, right?
I just realized that it's almost like the moral of that story, if it had one,
drink a lot and you're fine.
That no, the strongest weapon is like the power of will or self,
or sacrifice,
purpose. Yeah.
I mean, the kamikaze pilots, you know, we talked in the vehicles episode about turning a vehicle into a weapon.
Yeah.
Actually turning a vehicle into a weapon. Thank you.
Right.
But
so
yeah,
I love this concept actually as a whole, because there's different types of like regionally different weapons, you know, different genres of weapons in a way is what I want to say.
Maybe we could do like an episode of just like you say, regional weapons and be like, what are some of the Asian weapons and how they were used or whatever.
Or even like in horror, like there's a board game called Arkham Horror. Yeah. One of the like unique items, one of the magical items you can get, it's like I think it's like a blood dagger or something. So every time you hit someone with it, like every time you stab someone with it, it does a lot of damage, but then you take damage. If you're the one using it.
Feedback.
So it's like you talk about willingness to sacrifice, you know, like how willing are you to actually literally sacrifice your lifeblood for it?
So that actually touches on magical weapons, which we haven't discussed. So maybe that could be our next weapons topic.
Best magical weapons.
And even like the effect of magic on, you know, again, like why are there wooden ships in fantasy where there's fireballs and stuff?
Yeah.
Like talk about making something obsolete.
They got fire resistant wood.
Yeah, you got it. Arms race. That's how it progressed.
Right.
You can't ignore that in fantasy.
Can think of any other weapons that you want us to, go over, or different movies, books that have different types of weapons.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments. Let us know in Discord.
Or different functions of weapons that we didn't cover. Status, rank, necessity, deterrence, all of that.
Is there really any other reason for weapons other than to kill? Like, no, I get it.
Some people like them because they're fun.
Yeah, the artistry of weapons.
Target practice, artistry, craftsmanship.
But that's just, you originally make a weapon to kill somebody. True. Like if you are using it in a different purpose, that's fine, cool. Like
hunting,
hunting.
Sounds like there's enough discourse in the topic to have its own episode. I like it.
But this has been a great time talking about weapons. And I've been Rio.
I'm Oscar.
I'm Kate.
And we'll see you next time.
And this is Sibby. Bye.